So, a Facebook post about being a surrogate got me thinking about the choice I made to get my tubes tied, which I did when I was 34 and I'm 37 now. And it was an experience. I chose to get the surgery done, not the Essure, which is where they put these little metal tubes into your fallopian tubes, which causes scar tissue over time. I found that for me, any metal in my body, really anything in there, is just a bad idea. I'm really sensitive to those kinds of things. So I chose to do the surgery, and they put you under, and they cut and cauterize the actual fallopian tubes, and then I asked that there were no metal bits left in me, so because sometimes they put clips on there, and I was like, no, don't want that shit. There is a slight chance that they could grow back together when you don't do that. So, anyway, I've been thinking about it, and I really made the right decision. But I don't want to say that I never think like, maybe I made the wrong decision, like it's so final. But I never wanted kids, like never. Maybe when I was a little girl, and that's what, I thought that you were supposed to want, like everyone. But I waited for a long time. I had IUDs, I was on birth control, I dealt with all that shit, and it was a real hard on my body. IUD caused a lot of infections to happen, a lot more pain, a lot heavier periods. It was better, I got the copper one, it was better than being on birth control, which made me crazy, and it was just a shit show, so it's better to not mess with my hormones. And anyway, so it's really great to not have to worry about getting pregnant, and so I know I made the right decision. But when I made that decision, some stuff came up that I actually didn't see happening. I didn't realize was going to happen. So one of the things is I had to ask my parents about surgeries, like a family history of surgery, and do we bleed a lot, and all this stuff, because I had never had one before. And so I wasn't going to tell them what I was doing, because it's none of their goddamn business, but they wanted to know why. And so my parents are separated, and so each of them had their own kind of response. My dad was like, oh, this is all so sudden, like, are you sure, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, it feels sudden to you, but to me, this is something I've thought about my entire adult life, and, I feel like I waited to a good age. 34 is pretty fucking reasonable age to think I know what I want, and, and if I change my mind, I fucking change my mind, and there's a million ways to have kids and to be a part of children's lives, but, it's just not anything I've ever wanted. So, anyway, so I think that, the finality of it, and even though I've always said, in the face of everybody telling me that I was wrong, and that I would change my mind when I met the right person, and all the bullshit that any woman decides that she doesn't want to have kids has to deal with, I fucking dealt with all of that, and still got it kind of in the last moments. But now as I'm older, people don't really question me anymore, which is either a sign of the times or the fact that I'm old and people, I don't know. Anyway, for some reason, I'm now more reliable, or just, yeah, you're getting too old to have kids, I guess, so whatever. Anyway, so my mom, I think, also had a lot of sadness, and she was just like, oh, okay, well, I'm not getting any grandbabies from you. So I can actually understand the finality of it for them. But what was interesting to me is that for me, I actually, the day after I had the surgery, maybe even the same day that I woke up and, was dealing with it, I realized that I felt really sad. And I felt the finality of it. I felt like, wow, so that's not happening. Even though I never wanted it to happen, I realized that, like, I'm not gonna have babies. I'm not gonna, set my genes forward into the world. And then I'm not gonna have that experience. And, because I'm choosing to not have that experience, there's all kinds of people that want that, and that means that I'm not going to be with them. I can think of one person in particular that I think would be a pretty good partner for me, but he wants kids, and, yeah, so, that takes that off the table. It's like any life choice, right? Any choice that you make, there's going to be some consequences with that, if you want to think of them as consequences or just other options, other ways of being. Anyway, so yeah, I guess my point is that every once in a while I do think, maybe I'd want to do that, or, but I don't don't really think I made the wrong decision. I also had an abortion when I was 25, and I really know that I made the right decision with that, because, like, fuck, if I've had a kid with that person, I would be stuck with them for the rest of my life. And at 25, like, I was a shit show. I was in a horrible relationship, and I am so glad that I went through the pain and the drama and all the shit that went along with it, of doing the abortion and really taking care of that. And I will speak about that in a different video, because I think that's an interesting story, and I think that those stories need to be shared more. So anyway, yeah, I don't want to pretend like I never think about, like, oh, maybe I made the wrong decision, but, like, generally I know I made the right decision. And like I said, there's a million ways to have children in your life. And my really good friend, Elenita, I really like, I never see her kid, but I get to be an auntie a little bit, and I am appreciating that and enjoying that I don't have to have a fucking kid. Thank you, Elenita, for doing that shit. And then I get to see the cute little baby, and that's great. So, yeah. I think the part of not having children for me is that I feel like I've spent a lot of time in this life learning, I think, how things work and learning about myself, and that I want the younger generations to not have to go through what I went through. And so I feel like there's a lot to share, and I know that there's more ways to do that than having a child, but, like, having your own child, of course, is, they're going to learn everything from you just by observing you. So there's something with that I feel, God, I could end up with somebody that has kids and still influence children that way. Anyway.